It's too hot. It's just too damn hot. Heat index is 101 degrees here, just outside of DC. In the Art Mine studio itself, it's about 90 air temperature. I don't know what the heat index is in here. Probably 95, 98 maybe. Who knows? It's too hot. It's just too hot. It's so hot that I don't want to go motorcycle riding because I know the moment I stop in traffic, I'm going to be miserable. Not interested. Maybe I'll go tonight when the sun goes down. Maybe I'll just hang up my spurs, so to speak, for the week and see how next weekend looks. I don't know. It's too hot to think. So I'm here hanging out in the studio. Got my latest work in progress. This is a meteor strike or an asteroid strike, whichever you want. Probably meteor. I was having a really bad day, and the phrase or the sentiment came to mind where it's, although I cannot silence my screaming shadows, I can annihilate the ground upon which they stand, came to mind. So I decided to annihilate an entire planet, so I felt better. So here we are. I'm almost done. I've got some work to do on it. But even in here, it's just too hot. But there's something I wanted to show you. I have made, aside from some good progress on this, I have made some good progress on something else that is equally important to me as my art. My garden. Let's head outside. So, in an earlier video, I showed you this pear tree, and there were dozens and dozens and dozens of tiny little pears, and it was only a couple of months ago. But now, thanks to the squirrels, I only have a handful left. I've tried everything. I've tried spicy pepper spray kind of stuff. They seem to be ignoring it. I have tried this horrendous animal repellent that smells like old fish and hot asshole. They seem to be ignoring that. I've tried slingshots, so at least they run when they hear the sound of the door opening, so that's a start. But if I'm lucky, I'll have a pair left, maybe. And it's been years. We've been trying to get this for years. But so far, at least I have my persimmons. I mean, look at these things. Look at them, these beautiful fruits. And they're just starting out. These will be ready closer in the winter, end of fall, early winter. Oh, I wanted to show you my figs. Persimmons will be ready end of fall, early winter, and I'll show you as they ripen the progress on that. Pardon the groaning machine in the back. That's my old air conditioner struggling, begging for death in the heat here. This is a fig tree. So here, check these out. All these little figs. And there's going to be a ton of them. Again, if the animals let me have any. This kind of gardening takes time. It's an investment. It's an investment in yourself. It's an investment in your property, if you're lucky enough to be able to own some. It's also an investment in your community. And I'll get on that in a little bit later. But that's the lovely backyard garden. Sorry, watching some hornets that look like they're about to come at me. And I just discovered these growing. Wild raspberries. I think that's what they are. And if any of you can verify that before I give myself some kind of food poisoning, I would be grateful. Let's go out front. Look at that over there, so forlorn and lonely, my beautiful motorcycle. But we're not here for motorcycles right now. We're here for gardens, for fruits, for vegetables, for those delicious things wrested from the ground, nurtured and cherished from our own soil with our very hands. Check this out. This empty bed was just 3 little spindly plants, maybe a month and a half ago. Now I've got pumpkins. Look at that. These bastards are huge. They're gonna be great. And I can't wait to get hopefully a few more. We're aiming for like a dozen or so. And we hand pollinate all the flowers, the male and female flowers. Maybe some other video I'll show you how to do that. Our strawberries are basically done. Those are more of a spring kind of thing. Looks like there may be a second wave of berries coming through. But our lavender, look at this. It's beautiful, beautiful blooming lavender. And I cannot describe how good that smells. I love it. I love lavender. Oh, check this out. Another giant pumpkin. And this isn't just for Halloween. we are going to eat these. We're going to eat the hell out of these. Coreopsis is now, I think that's what that is. Coreopsis is now in great bloom. Got our banana peppers. I tried to eat one of these peppers. Even just the tiniest little bite is too much for me. I don't like peppers that are so hot that I feel like I'm being punished for trying to eat them. That's not for me. Maybe I'm a special baby. Maybe I just like some flavor. Excuse me. Purple bell peppers coming up. Some tomato plants. And these volunteer Brussels sprouts still growing. And you know what? Whoops. We're going to keep harvesting them and we're going to keep eating them. They may just live there forever. We may just have Brussels sprouts forever. And the Brussels greens, which are delicious. My sunflowers. My beautiful sunflowers. They're getting so close to blooming. More tomatoes. Another lavender plant. Even the leaves. Even the leaves. You can take lavender, you can make tea out of it. You can use it as an herb for cooking. You can dry it, make a potpourri out of it, and just like fill your home and pillowcase and lovely things with a great stink. I'm a big fan. Look at that guy. That guy's taller than me. And those sunflowers, when the heads open up, are going to be huge, bigger than my hand. And each of those little dots inside, when the sunflower opens up, is like another tiny little flower inside. And when you pollinate them, you get sunflower seeds, and those are yummy. And if the birds let me have any, that would be great this year. Thanks, please. This is something I wanted to show. Tomatoes. Cherry tomatoes. These tomatoes are tiny. Oh, there we go. Look at this. That right there, fresh off the vine. Does not get better, in my view, than strolling through your yard, plucking a fresh fruit or a vegetable off of a plant that you've spent months, maybe years growing, and getting to take a bite of that. You may have heard the phrase putting down roots. This is putting down roots. These right here, these are the roots. And they're not just the actual, physical roots of the plant, but it's the roots of tradition. And I said earlier that that's good for the community. And I want to try and clarify why, and why I really encourage you to take up gardening in any capacity you possibly can. Gardening is a revolutionary act. You might think, oh, well, shit, I'm just growing some fruits and veg for me to snack on and probably just feed the wildlife. What makes it revolutionary is that you are fostering independence. You are fostering resilience. You are not relying on a capitalist food and supply and logistics chain whose single motive isn't to feed you. It isn't to feed your family. It's to make as much money as possible. That's not personal. That's not an indictment. That's just business. That's just what a business does. A business is to make money. If they couldn't make money growing these tomatoes as cheaply as possible in another country with bad environmental practices and really exploitative labor practices, they wouldn't do it. Why do you think, soybeans or beef and all of that is so cheap? Because it's government subsidized and made to be as profitable as possible. That's all there is to it. It's not personal, it's business. So growing your own food, I want another one. One in here. Oh yeah. And look at this. Simple, red. Just a little sweet. Such a richness of flavor. But when you do it yourself, publicly, openly, when you grow... Sorry, I'm being consumed by mosquitoes. I may be carried off on camera, and I'm trying to put the camera in the shade. Here we go. When you grow these things yourself, especially publicly out front, this is the front of my street. It takes work, it takes time, it takes a little bit of resources. Starting a raised bed garden is not difficult at all. But when you do that, people see you doing it. I have almost every time somebody walks down the street and I'm working in the garden, I'm weeding something, I'm trimming something, I'm doing some bizarre bamboo and string contraption to hold things up. I'm waving at people. You know, every time I'm out here, people ask me, what are you doing? What are you growing? What is this? It is an opportunity to educate. It is an opportunity to build resilience in your community. When that corporate supply chain breaks down, for whatever reason, whether greed or negligence or just like, oops, big storm, lost power, whatever. Whenever that supply chain breaks down, it leaves us end users, for lack of a better term, leaves us vulnerable. So gardens like this promote resilience by saying, I can feed myself and maybe a couple of my neighbors for a while, help ease the burden on the supply chain. And if you can teach yourself how to do it, and we've pretty much learned from the YouTube and from the experiments and practice over several years, you can teach yourself how to do it, and you can teach your neighbors how to do it. You can exchange food. You can exchange ideas. You can exchange practices. Where I live, all of my stuff grows I live at the bottom of a bunch of hills, so my stuff grows pretty well. But the soil can get really wet, which has its advantages. But if you have want to try and grow something that is a little less tolerant of super saturated soil, especially early in the spring, or if we have like a series of big rainstorms and things don't drain very well, my yard isn't going to be the place to do it. But someone who lives further up the hill can probably grow other things very well. I don't have the space to grow everything I want, but let's say someone else is growing potatoes. Potatoes are stupid easy to grow. Let's say someone else is growing potatoes. I can trade them a basket of tomatoes, because I'm going to have more tomatoes than I can probably ever eat, for some of their potatoes. And then, if we can get neighbors down there growing, say, carrots or radishes or something like that, you get the idea. You don't have to do this alone. And the more you do it openly, the more you promote this kind of stuff, the more other people do it. The more you inspire other people to do it. Another inspirational thing, that little book box there, that's my effort at a little free library. I've built 3 of them. I started with that one. Kids come to it almost every day. When we had school buses and people going to class, kids would walk up and down the street and stop there almost every day. And then I built another one. Gave it to a neighbor that lives a couple blocks up the hill that way. And then I built another one and gave it to a neighbor that lives a couple blocks over there. And now there's 3 free book boxes, and people visit them every day because they saw the one that I put in and they were inspired by it. And I'm hoping that folks on that direction, put in a couple of their own. It's stuff like that. That's what I'm getting at. And we're not going to be able to change this stuff entirely by ourselves, but by working together, by inspiring each other, by learning from each other, by organizing and helping each other, that's how we can make change. I'm not saying you need to, throw up the hammer and sickle and seize the means of production, as entertaining as that is. I'm saying stuff like this, small stuff like this, that's how it begins. When you see storming the Capitol building of some far-off government, and the students are waving banners, and they have overthrown the dictator, that's the end product. That doesn't start there. So, if you want change, you've got to start the change. So, I think I've rambled enough. I'm tired, it's hot, maybe the heat's getting to my head. I hope you are safe and well-fed wherever you are. I wish you mucho, mucho, mucho amor. I cannot wait to see you again. And be safe on your ride out there. Drink plenty of water. And get your air conditioning checked. See you soon.